Hi, everybody. It is me, Joanna. Thank you for joining me today. I'm super excited about today's live. We are going to be having a brand founder conversation. I get a lot of messages from lots of estheticians, lots of brand founders around the world, really, asking for advice, asking what I've done, what my husband and I have created. And I thought it would be a fun discussion to talk to somebody who has also created her own brand. She's going to be joining us now, so just please stand by. Here she comes. Hi!
Hi, Joanna.
It's so nice to see
So
you.
good to see you as well.
Thank you for
having me.
coming. Welcome to my living room.
It's beautiful. Welcome to my boring black background here.
It's okay. I did that for a long time too, because I just wanted to let my family live their life. But you
Are you
know,
home most days? You're still quarantined and
yeah. Where are you based? I know you're in California, but
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, so we're slowly opening up. So our office is opened. But again, there's a lot of restrictions.
yeah,
So it's a
yeah.
lot.
It's a lot, and I think that it's going to take a while for things to become like more what we're used to. But we're all hanging in there, I suppose. So lots of people are joining us right now, which I'm really excited about. I wanted to start off by why don't you introduce yourself? I know that you're an esthetician, but how long have you been in beauty? What inspired you? All of that good stuff.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, my name's Tami Blake, and I am the founder of two skincare lines, Sweet and True Sugaring, which is directly for professionals in our industry, our estheticians and cosmetologists. And then I just recently launched a little over a year ago, Free and True Skincare. So I was born and raised in San Francisco. I grew up in the Haight-Ashbury district. So growing up, I was just around so much vitality and activism and diversity. I grew up in a very diverse school, and I had friends from all over the world, and so a lot of what inspires me every day is sort of being around this diverse group of friends and eating foods from all over the world. And so when I started to travel all over the world, everything felt familiar. It felt like home because I had eaten food from India and Korea and Ethiopia and Ecuador. And so all of those things just to dive right in. And there was one thing that I found that was really beautiful about all the different cultures was beauty. It's just universal, and how women get together and the ingredients we use to beautify our skin, the cultural ingredients that we use. And so that was always fascinating for me. I was into beauty when I was 19 and I took my first soap making class and I loved it. And I started learning about aromatherapy and making my own facial creams. And that it was a passion. And I always tell people, what is it you like doing when you're 18 or 19? That'll give you a clue. I didn't listen to that. I ended up going into another field and doing some other things. But so I got back into beauty probably in my late 20s, early 30s. And I took the dive and said, I'm going to go to esthetician school. I'm going to learn everything I can about skin, and I'm going to live this passion. I was already studying botanicals and herbs. And so I kind of went to school with that knowledge of I'm going to learn ingredients, and I'm going to have my own skincare line, and I'm going to touch as many faces as I can and just, dive into the work. And again, my school was very diverse. I was introduced to threading and using rice water. It was just everybody brought their cultural beauty, you know, and wellness tips to the classroom. And so what happened is I went to the Middle East and was exposed to sugaring. I went to Istanbul, Turkey. And that was where I was exposed to sugaring. I was invited to a friend's house and 8 women got together. We were sipping tea, eating cookies. And there was this honey-like substance made with sugar and water and lemon that they were molding onto my legs to remove hair. And I was like, what is this? It was fascinating. It was fascinating because it was an ancient Egyptian form of hair removal that I'd never really heard of before, made with 3 ingredients that was very gentle on the skin. And I just knew it just felt so incredible to be around women, talking, no judgment, sharing beauty, you know? And so I kind of took that and sort of, dove into learning how to make the sugar. And that was my first product line. Was the
That's
sugaring
really
case.
cool. I love the fact that you mentioned that you were inspired by the diversity of your upbringing and your world,
Yeah.
and that you were inspired by all the different ingredients that are culturally significant. One thing that, I mean, I also, because I'm Mexican, I felt like that informed a lot of, you know, me thinking about do-it-yourself masks at home. I put it in my book because
Yeah.
that was something that that I felt for me personally was very significant to my own culture. And that there's a reason why certain ingredients are in skincare products, because they have a tradition
Yes.
that is a lot larger than what I guess many people consider. You know, things like chamomile, things like sugar, honey, avocado, oatmeal, all of these kinds of like things that you just find in your kitchen. They're in skincare products very widely, and it's
Yes.
because they were significant in other people's cultures as far as like beauty rituals.
Yes.
Um, and I think that that kind of gets lost sometimes in the storytelling, you know, when editors um, talk about certain ingredients, it kind of gets lost where those ingredients really came from. And I know for me personally, I have experienced some shade from other people in the industry, like, oh, do-it-yourself masks don't work, or, you know, you shouldn't put food on your face. But, you know, to me, that in and of itself is a little bit offensive, just because, you know, it's very, you know, you're centered around your own culture and not looking
Right.
at where it all came from. And, you know, we get a lot of our beauty traditions and rituals from other places that we've kind of appropriated, so to speak. So how long have you been an esthetician for?
About 10 years. Yeah.
So I also, like you, started beauty when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. Um, so I don't you feel like starting your career, your calling or whatever at that age, kind of it's your real calling. Like when you're in your 20s, I'm not sure that you always know what you're supposed to do with your life. Um, and I also traveled a lot, and I think don't you feel like your whole 20s was just learning who you really were? And
Absolutely.
you know, and then
Absolutely.
you became a fully formed human, and then you were like, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'm doing me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, in your 20s, you're learning how to walk and you're making mistakes.
Yeah.
I was also a mom, so I was just focused on, you know, economics and just, you
Yeah.
know, and growing and educating myself. And I think once you get settled into your skin and you feel like I love who I am just as I am. You know, there's a lot of insecurities you got to deal with, a lot of trauma. You know, you just deal with all of your stuff, your baggage. And then once you deal with that, which was what my 20s was all about, was I'm
Yep.
dealing with my baggage. I got to get right here, here. I have to surround myself with loving people, loving community, get rid
Yeah.
of the negativity. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to focus on my dreams.
Yeah.
And so I think once I really knew, I went back to that passion for beauty, you know, nobody can stop you, because you're just like, this is what I'm doing. I love it. And it doesn't feel like work anymore, even though it's hard work. So
It's really hard work. I don't think, I mean, my husband and I started our company together, and and we had a 1-year-old baby. We were just married. My son was a year old, and you know, it's not necessarily like if I were advising someone else, I wouldn't be like, yeah, have a baby and then start a company.
I've been there. I know. I know.
But we did it, and we kind of, I mean, for us, it was just sort of like we were passionate and we wanted to do it, and we found inner strength because of it, even though it was it was really daunting and extremely challenging um, to do so. So,
How did you keep going during those hard, real hard times where you're
um,
nursing your baby, you're, you know, trying to get things done in between naps? How did you
we,
find your strength?
you know, I mean, honest, and I'm going to be dead honest with you, it was partly economics. Um, you know, my husband and I started the company together. There was no other income except for our company. And so it was sort of like a trial by fire, you know, you don't make money, you don't buy groceries kind of a thing.
Wow.
We started our company on credit cards.
Yeah.
So it's not like we took, you know, our inheritance, and not to shade anybody who has, but I'm just saying for us, it was very much like we had a dollar and a dream.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
And there were lots of times, I mean, I would cry sometimes, like if I didn't get home by a certain hour, my son he would fall asleep waiting for me. And I would just be speeding home from the office trying to get there just so that I could spend some time with him. And sometimes it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Um, and I would cry about it, and I would be like, why did we do this? Why can't I just be, you know, doing something else? And I think for me, part of the journey was really getting to a point where I had to find balance and also forgive myself for things that I felt were my own shortcomings as a mother. Um, because I couldn't, I mean, this whole idea of having it all um, and trying to look perfect while you're doing it. I mean, there was nothing perfect about the journey. Um, it's just, you know, what happened and having to deal with it and having to rally and move on. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, how many kids do you have?
I have three. So I have a stepson and then two kids. So we had three boys.
My
Um,
goodness.
and when I started open my spa, I was pregnant too. So I know what that feeling is.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah,
How long ago did you open your spa?
that was 2013.
Wow.
So I had a job and I was working two jobs. You know, I took my maternity leave. I was nursing and working, trying to get the spa off the ground. And thankfully my sister partnered with me, and we just had, you know, you have to depend on family. And we both worked two jobs, worked there, and we worked our normal jobs, and
Oh
then we
my
were,
God.
and you know, it was crazy. You know, it was very emotionally draining, and thankfully I had a support system. My husband was very supportive. He rolled up his sleeves and helped with the build out. I mean, you just have to be scrappy.
Yeah.
Every dollar, you're just, okay, I'm going to try to find this you know, the least expensive you know, where am I going to get my supplies? And you just find the cheapest resources, but quality too. And we also got a small loan from like a community loan nonprofit,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
to
awesome.
just to help with the working capital. It was only like $30,000, but just to have, and then I saved up a little bit of money. So it's nobody gave me anything either. We worked really, really hard to get, just to
Yeah.
get it off the ground. So I know how you feel. I've been there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It was partly why I wanted to talk to you because I read a little bit about you and I thought, you know, it's fun to find people in the industry that you feel have had similar journeys or could understand your journey a little bit. What do you feel, you know, like looking back on your whole evolution, what would you consider to have been the most challenging moment for you?
You know, it's hard to say because today, what would seem like challenging back then, um, I think it was first dealing with the fear, getting over the fear of
Yeah.
taking risk. That is the most challenging thing because you have to process in your head, I'm about to put everything, I'm to take this huge financial risk, leave my comfort zone. And
Yeah.
that mental place, like once you break free of that, then you're just, you know, you got to just charge ahead. So it took a lot of work to be like, the thing that I had to say was, what's the worst thing that could happen? I lose some money. I close up shop and I go get a job. That's the
Yeah.
worst. You know, I had to just say, I'll be okay. I will survive. But if
Mhm.
I don't do this, this is what I told my husband. If I don't do this, I will never forgive myself when I'm on my deathbed that I didn't try, you know? I said, I
Yeah.
have to do this. I have to try. And then every challenge now I welcome, believe it or not, because it gets easier and easier, and you just, I don't say roll with the punches, but you, after you've gotten through several hurdles, they become easier and you're just solving a problem. And you always solve that problem by being true to yourself and just being honest, and know that you're making the right decision, and that things will, you kind of have to have some faith that things are going to fall into place and that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
um, and you just can't, if you hold yourself back by stressing and crying, you just have to, like, okay, I gotta move forward. This is a problem, but we're going to get through it.
Yeah.
It just gets easier and easier.
Yeah.
What about you? What was the most challenging?
I mean, definitely fear is a great answer, getting over one's fear, because I'm definitely more of a safer person, or I seek safeness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so my husband is better at being fearless on my behalf and being like, we can do this, or you can do this. I know you can. Um, so he's been a significant part of me willing to take risk on myself. But I think for us at the very beginning, we couldn't figure out how to make the phone ring. We opened the office and it was like, okay, you know, we're here, and like in my childlike mind, I was like, well, once we have a website, then people will be able to find me. And you know, you put up the website with lots of like, you know, it's a lot of finances again, and then it's like, okay, now the phone's not ringing. And I remember Allure was the first magazine that wrote about me, and it was a small thing. It was um, in their directory of recommended places, and they gave like a little review. And I knew it was coming out. They warned me it was coming out. And so I remember going to the newsstand every day waiting for that magazine to come out. And I just felt like, now the phone's going to ring because it's going to be in a magazine. And it
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
And so it was really like, you know, getting rid of all of these false ideas of what was going to make it successful, and really having to go bare bones on like, okay, what's really going to make me successful is getting my existing clients to recommend other clients.
Yes.
That's the only way that I'm going to fill my salon. with people. And once we kind of realized that it was that was the simplicity of it, then I dialed myself into being like, okay, I got to give the best facial I've ever given.
Yes.
And I want to make you feel so happy that you leave here and have to tell your sister about it, and you have to tell your mom, or you have to go back to your office and be like, check me out, I just got
Yes.
this facial.
Yes.
And
Oh my God,
that's
I love that
honestly what
story.
made me successful. It wasn't any of that other stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Let me close my window. So
Yeah,
maybe
go ahead, go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry. Hold on.
No, you're good. Okay, while she's closing her window, I'm just going to read a question that we just got. It says, hi, ladies. Can you talk about your careers from the beginning? I finished esthetician school right before COVID, and I've been contemplating if I should work for someone else or get started on my own. So I'm going to answer first. While Tami gets herself situated a little bit. So when I got out of esthetician school, I I did have in my mind that maybe someday I wanted to open my own place, but for me personally, I felt like I didn't know enough about aesthetics or about skin, and I hadn't done enough facials to start my own business. So what I did personally was I got a job at a day spa, and then I got a job working for a dermatologist. I tried out different viewpoints within skincare, like how do people treat the skin. At the organic day spa, we gave facials with Jurlique. Do you remember that line, Tami?
Yes, I do. That was like one of the first
Right.
clean beauty lines. Yes.
Right. And then when I worked for the dermatologist, he was kind of a product junkie. So then it was like a lot of lines from Europe and a lot of more clinical things. And then, so I kept on trying different disciplines, is what I'm trying to say, until I started to develop what my own voice was in what I wanted to say, or how did I want to treat the skin. And that's when we started the salon, when I felt very much like I had a viewpoint and a perspective that was mine, and I took that idea and ran with it. How about you? What did you do when you got out of beauty school?
Me, I just did a lot of facials. I started my own room.
Oh, you
We did,
did?
yeah, I did, and I did right out of my house. I just did a ton of facials, and then we opened our spa. So I did take a lot of advanced education classes while I was in school, because a lot of times you're just learning how to pass state board.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, I need to, get use this time wisely, the 600 hours.
Yeah.
And so I went to the Dermal Institute. I had a few kind of master experienced estheticians that I worked with and took classes with. And so that's sort of where to kind of mentor me and guide me. And then and of course, I was always sort of interested in products. So I was also doing a lot of formulating classes and things like that. So I think everybody has a different path. I do think working for somebody else is very valuable, because you can learn so much about business and skincare lines and the things you love, and takes a little bit from everywhere, right, Joanna? I mean,
Yeah.
would you find that?
That's at the time that I began there, the advanced classes. So I've been an esthetician for 20 years. The advanced classes were not, I took some of them at the Dermal Institute, and I did the best I could, but there weren't, like now becoming an esthetician, I think is so exciting because the advanced classes are so cool. You could do laser, you could take a class on microcurrent, you could do microneedling. None of that, at least it wasn't in my orbit. If it existed, forgive me for not knowing, but I didn't see it. Um, if it was there, it wasn't in my orbit, so I didn't know it existed 20 years ago. And so I had to work for somebody to learn how to do microcurrent or anything funky or cool, and that's kind of what I was wanting to do. I loved giving facials, but I wanted to learn more. I was very starved for knowledge, so I jumped around a lot.
What are your thoughts on microcurrent?
Well, microcurrent is one of the most requested facials that we do in my salons. Um, it's something that you can, it depends on who's giving it to you. You can easily be like, oh, this doesn't work. Or it could be the most life-changing experience ever. It's something that is a great non-invasive treatment. It works on anybody, 25 to 85, but you have to do it on a regular basis. It's not magic. It's a non-invasive treatment. So if you don't, it's it's great for the lymphatic system, activating that. It's great for a lot of skin health reasons, but it's not going to do much. If you're expecting to do one microcurrent facial and kind of like have a different face, then that's not going to be worth it to invest in the one facial. What do you think?
I love microcurrent. It's to give it's very technical, but
Yeah.
so I had the machine, and I also go to somebody who's very good, and I saw great results without having, if you're looking for a quick fix, then there are other avenues for that. But it's like I just the lifting, and then just the clarity, because the lymphatic work. I love that. I mean, along with facial massage and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried radio frequency or microneedling with radio frequency?
No, I have not.
Ooh, it's so good. That would be like if I would recommend esthetician to esthetician, if there's like one thing that I would say that you should try, about I guess, has it been a year? We've been doing microneedling with radio frequency at my salon in New York, and it's more invasive than microcurrent. It's
Okay.
what we call minimally invasive because you're breaking the skin's barrier with the needles, and then once the needles are in the face, you put radio frequency in there. So it remodels your collagen. It's like having a facelift, which is
Wow.
important to me at my age.
I hear you. I'm in my 40s, so I'm like, I'm not going to knock anything.
Yeah. I'm turning 50 this year, so I feel like I need to have a facial every week now.
Which is tough nowadays. Wondering how we're going to get back to facials.
Yeah, I'm very, very eager to get back and hold someone's face in my hands. Are you guys you're not able to do facials in San Francisco yet?
So we are waiting on approval and guidance. They've allowed, I guess, hair removal, from the neck down. Face is still up in the air. So
I see.
We're just waiting, and it's county by county. So we do a lot of sugaring hair removal, so we should be okay as far as we'll be busy, but I don't know what we're going to do as far as our facials just yet until we get some guidance and figure out.
Yeah, I took a look at the guidelines. I think the Board of Health or the state health commissioner set up some guidelines. I took a look at them over the weekend because it's up on their website. And it's a lot of what I expected because I've been watching other states.
Yeah.
Face shields, face masks, clean gloves, obviously. It's like all stuff that, like, as estheticians, I feel like we're really good at that stuff.
Yeah, we're already doing a lot of that.
Yeah. So I don't feel like it's going to be like a dramatic, we're very clean people. We err on the side of OCD mostly.
Yes.
So I feel like that's the one thing I think that we're highly trained in is all of that cleanliness, how to not spread things, how to clean a room, uh,
Yeah.
you
Oh
know.
yeah. We're always, and we
Um,
shall.
Go ahead.
No, we'll see how it keeps changing too. So I had to take a break. I checked the website, didn't see anything, so I said, okay, I'll wait. And usually I find out via social media if there's a change, or a friend or somebody will text me and say, this just came out, while
Yeah,
I'm waiting.
I've been on a long break from it too because it was making me nuts. Because we're closed in both California and New York. Um, but one of so many of my employees are so eager to get back to work. So one of my employees in California sent me um, the guidelines, and she was like, "We can open. It says it, but it wasn't. That's not quite what it said. But you know, we're getting closer in California, I think, than in New York." Um, so Sarah is my head esthetician in New York City. She just asked us, where do you both see the future of the industry headed?
I'm really encouraged by a lot of the love for that. Have you gotten a gua sha facial? I'm loving that modality. I just have started taking some classes on that and looking to introduce that. I think there's a holistic aspect that's really exciting. Um, but and I think, folks are looking for natural. We've also seen a lot with the COVID-19 pandemic, people coming on and looking at sugaring as a natural alternative. It's biodegradable. It's natural and effective, and the results are phenomenal. So I'm seeing a lot of people just like who were sort of kind of watching really sort of commit to using more natural holistic modalities. What are you seeing? There's also a lot of innovation and technology too. Um,
Yeah, I think that non-invasive or minimally invasive technology is going to continue to be sort of like the hero solution to some of the more invasive uh, solutions that we've seen in the last 10 years. You know, an alternative to getting Botox and filler, just get microneedling with radio frequency instead. Or, you know, for me, what I like is that the beauty industry has become um, more about what works for you instead of trying to cookie cutter everything and take every face and shove it into a category.
yeah,
I know that when I came out of beauty school, especially at my first job, glycolic peels were really popular. It was like that was the solution. Um, and everybody was obsessed by them. And you know, and then it became Botox. Everybody was getting Botox, and then everybody was getting filler. And we have this tendency to have this fad go across the beauty industry, and everybody's doing it. And I think now things are changing into you have to find what's right for your skin. And,
hmm
you know, it's our job as estheticians um, to find what's best for our clients and not just recommend like one thing for everybody, because
yeah,
as you and I both know, not every face is the same, not
yeah,
every skin responds the same. And why should we want to look like everybody else?
right,
Why should be that shouldn't be our goal for beauty, is that
yeah,
I want to look like you or you want to look like me. It's I should want to look my best for me, and
yes.
that should be embraced as beautiful.
I love that, Joanna. I think we as women, we're just so critical,
Yeah.
um, and I'm not immune to that and insecurities, but I have as I've gotten into this industry, I realized like I love what I'm doing on the inside. I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And so what, I didn't brush my hair today, or I'm going to this. I mean, I think COVID-19 has just allowed us to like, okay, all of we can't do the things that we want. We've had to find our beauty and our peace in other places, going for a hike and we can't get to the salon, embracing your grays, or, you know, whatever it is. It's okay. I got my mask on. Can't wear any lipstick, you know.
Yeah.
It's allowed me personally to just kind of realize what's important, and then just enjoy my skincare a little bit more, my routine, and try to feel good on the inside. And I think that kind of, you know, shows on the outside. That's what I've been dealing with or feeling.
Absolutely. And I also think that like maybe it's been a time where people have really seen for themselves, like if you take a little bit of time to take care of yourself, um, it doesn't have to be a big long thing, but
Right.
if you take the time to honor yourself by having a little routine at night,
Yeah.
or by knowing like, you know what, I'm less stressed if I take a walk first and then
Yeah.
start my work day, or um, play with your dogs, or
Yeah.
something that like that you've noticed a change in yourself, that will only show up in your skin as well. It's
Yes.
all about how we treat ourselves. You know, our skin is just a window into
Mm-hmm.
what's happening on the inside. Um, and so I think it's been, you know, if we could take away a positive from, which is what I always look for, how can we change for the better in times of trouble or in times of great anguish, as this has been for all of us? What could we do to come out better for it, you know? Gabrielle just asked us, how do you think the skincare industry will change from COVID? I will say, for me personally, what I think is that first, people will take better care of themselves. I think overall we see that your health is your everything,
Yes.
and and hopefully people will be more thoughtful about how that they can incorporate wellness into their lives, because it is you that's everything. If you're not
Yeah.
healthy, it doesn't matter what you have or what you know what you've bought or any of those things. That's the first thing. But I think in terms of the skincare industry, I think people will be rushing back into salons to get treatments because they'll need it, and they'll realize that it is an important part of their lives to be cared for by others and to have that personal connection. And I think as an industry, while the whole clean beauty movement, which I know that you're very passionate about yourself, has had brought a lot of really important issues to the fore. I think that we also have to look at, you know, products have to be safe, they have to be effective as well. And what, you know, the whole discourse on toxins and so forth, I think has become a little bit dangerous,
Yeah.
just because I think there's a lot of misinformation and scaremongering as well. And I think that what I'm hoping for is like that will balance itself out a little bit, and that we can see, you know, um, if you want a product that is mostly organic, that's great. It's got to be in a well preserved
Yes.
form or formula in order for it to be saleable, and that we shouldn't shame each other for
Mm-hmm.
whatever side of the conversation we're on, because I think that that's gotten a little bit ugly. So
I agree.
hopefully we'll be able to play well in the sandbox together.
I agree. Because there's some wonderful lab creative actives out there, you
Yeah,
know, and that are clinically proven, and that I use, and that our community really loves. And women, we want natural, we want results.
yeah,
And we'd like not to have to do invasive procedures, so we can, you know, boost our skin and our glow with antioxidants, whether it's created in a lab or it comes from a plant. So I'm seeing more marrying of that, I think. And then with COVID-19, again, just really focusing on, simplifying our lives and our routines. And really, I think there's going to be a more embracing of more indie brands as we start to think about where we spend our money and the companies that speak to us and that are inclusive and diverse and yet make a difference. So I'm definitely thinking that consciousness, and people have been scrolling on their Instagram so that they become aware of all of the indie brands out there. There's so many options. And then just self-care, and just because I think a lot of people are stressed out and uncertain, but we've also learned to embrace and appreciate family and the love around us. And we can't go to the mall. We can't go to concerts. We can't, go out to bars. But at the same time, we can go for a hike, and we can, meditate and get involved now in activism or whatever. So I think there's going to be a shift in how we spend our dollars and where we, the companies we want to support. So I think that'll be a positive thing too. And of course, everybody can't wait to get their facial or get sugared. So that's good. We all need to get back to feeling like ourselves again.
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody's craving normalcy or craving a routine that has, a shadow of the pre-COVID era. I do think that indie brands are being more embraced, which I think is awesome. Because they're more inclusive. They tend to be more inclusive. They tend to have a more personal message, I think.
Yeah.
And we're often created to reach that client, that person that just wants to do better for him or herself and doesn't know where to begin. So I think all of that is really positive. Before our time is going to wind down, but I wanted to talk about your products for a minute. So I have some of them here. Okay. So, as you know, I started using this recently, which I really love. What I love about it is that it has peptides in it.
Mm-hmm.
But also my favorite essential oil smell of all time is ylang ylang.
Yes.
Which
that's my happy essential oil.
So tell me what inspired you, like how you put this together or how you think of product when you decide to create a formula.
Yeah, I wanted
this is her moisturizer, you guys.
Yeah, that's Mama Pacha. It's the moisturizer in the collection. I wanted a simple moisturizer that was kind of lightweight enough.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I have dogs.
And I had, some gardening happening. So I wanted something lightweight enough that you can layer with your serums and your face oils, but that, was really about gentle and barrier protection. And so it has some peptides, some beta glucan, and so it deeply penetrates. It's simple, but there's some good ingredients. It's got some go-to cola in it, very lightweight. And so that's our moisturizer, and it's inspired by just Mama Pacha, the goddess of fertility and abundant harvest in South America. So that's kind of the inspiration. Yeah.
I wish you guys could smell it. I also wish it's not going to really show up, but I just put it on this hand. I don't know if you can see the difference in hydration levels on the live, but this hand is so much more hydrated than this side. It penetrates really well. I like it because it disappears into the skin, but it makes you feel like your skin is holding hydration better, which for me is sort of the hallmark of a good light moisturizer. And it's sort of a lotion consistency. So I like that as well because I do like layering products myself.
Yeah.
And so it's a good product to layer. Next one is, I'm dropping things. I have the dropsies. Is this one, which is,
So that's Moonlight Milk. That's a balm to milk cleanser. So it's good at removing makeup. If you know, a lot of us aren't wearing as much these days, but it effectively removes makeup, but it washes away clean. So it's sort of a balm that you don't have to use a towel with, or you can if you've got some heavy makeup on. You can use it standalone, or you can double cleanse with that. So it's got some plant extracts and some jasmine, mango seed butter.
I can smell the jasmine really well.
Yeah.
This is the consistency of it, which is I also really like the color. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, we use some herbs to kind of give it that moonlight glow.
This color is very on brand for me. So I love that one. And then the next one that I haven't tried yet, but I really love the name of, is the body serums.
Yes. So I just wanted a lightweight body cream or serum that was really moisturizing but didn't suffocate the skin. So if you're in a humid environment, it's nice. You can get dressed right away after applying, but it's, you know, penetrating and moisturizing and healing. My nephew had some bad eczema on his hands, and I just used a little of that, and it helped to, you know, alleviate some of that.
What's this? This smells like heaven. What is this?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of pomegranate extract, rosemary, ylang ylang, orange, distilled orange. So it's got kind of a bright summery scent with a little geranium. So it's kind of herby yet fresh and bright.
Geranium. I smell the citrus.
Yeah.
It smells delicious. It feels so good. So how many products do you have in your line right now?
We have eight in the Free and True line.
That's amazing. So do you have anything that you're working on? Can you give us a sneak peek into your brain for a minute?
Yeah, I am working on a wonderful serum, trying to get a heavy hitting serum. So that should be coming out very soon, within the next couple of months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So where can we buy your products?
You can buy them online at freeandtrueskincare.com.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you have plans to retail your products anywhere? Is that something that's in your mind as a goal? Because I have friends, one of my really good beauty friends is Renee Rouleau. Uh-oh, you're frozen for a second. Sorry, you froze for a second.
Oh,
what
no.
did you say?
I said I love her too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, she doesn't retail her, she doesn't have a wholesale business. She has no interest in it. It's the last thing she wants to do. And as you know, I retail my products in a variety of places. And that was one of my goals when I created my line. I really wanted to retail, but she just didn't have that goal. So where do you stand? Are you on Renee's side or my side? Or somewhere in between?
I do wholesale.
You do?
Yeah, I do. And it's because I already work with a lot of estheticians and spas through my sugaring brand. And that's the kind of the direction I've always wanted to go. But I've read about her just going directly to the consumer. And I thought that was a real interesting business model. And I know you have to work really, really hard to do that.
I respect it so much.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, right?
It is.
It's amazing what she's done.
Because her stuff is good. It's tempting. I mean, she could, I'm sure she gets asked all the time.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the one thing I think, you know, the takeaway that I want people to think about, because I heard you say it, Tommy. I know I feel it, and I've heard Renee say it a billion times. You do your best work when you are very comfortable with who you are. And and I think we all have to live our own truth and our own goals, and there's no right or wrong way. It's the right way is your way.
Right.
Um, and I think that you find your passion for your work, and you really find your success when you're really following the path that, you know, that you're just like, this is me, I'm doing me, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, exactly. You just kind of stay in your lane and focus. And there's a lot of distractions and comparison, but you just have to say, this feels good to me. Um, and you can always change your mind. That's the beauty of business.
Totally,
But
totally. Yeah, but just, I think I really found my voice, or I found success when I started to be more and more my own person, as opposed to worrying about fitting into um, the industry, which I
yeah,
felt, at least in New York, at the time that I became an esthetician, was very much one thing. And I didn't feel like it was welcoming to other things. So
hmm,
it's kind of why I do a lot of mentorship of young women, you know, high schoolers and so forth, because I want them to know that I was only successful when I was being myself, you know?
yes, yes, being true to yourself.
Yeah.
Um, because otherwise when you're doing the right thing, things fall into place, and the right things happen at the right time.
Yeah.
Um, and you created your line, I'm sure, with all of, kind of all of the dream, ingredients and things that you envisioned. I just would like to ask if I can ask you quickly about how you decided on going the retail route, and with, the products that you, um, how did you build your collection and make these decisions?
Um, well, I had as a client, a facial client, the woman who founded Space NK. Her name
Mm-hmm.
is Nikki Kennard. And, you know, as are many women in our business, she was very formidable and very inspiring to just be around, you know. And she knew I was formulating a collection, a small collection. I had 5 products, and um, and she told me, make enough products so people don't have to shop for other products outside of your brand in order to have like a full routine. And
Sure.
so it's not like I'd never thought of that before, but it became very clear that that's what you had to do to play in a bigger arena. And for me, you know, it was always my goal. I wanted to reach people no matter where they were. I didn't want to just be in New York and do that and be that. I wanted to be all over because, like yourself, I felt like my background was more of a whole world kind of
Yeah.
background. And what I really wanted to do was reach the people that wanted to be a part of the beauty conversation but didn't know where to begin. Um, that maybe just didn't understand what to buy first or what to do first. And it really bothered me so much that so many people thought that you had to be born with good skin in order to have good skin. It
Mm.
still to this day bothers the shit out of me that people think that, because
Yeah.
it's so the
Yeah.
wrong thing to think, and it's putting yourself down, and it just bothers me. And so
Mm.
it was really that, and wanting to create product that I thought was different from what I was seeing, and a
Yeah.
different conversation. I don't look at your skin and think oily, dry. You know,
Mm.
yeah, that's a part of it, but like it's all about nutrition for me. And
Yeah.
nutrition is universal. And it
Mm.
and it
Yeah.
and it's not about skin tone. It's about like, okay, you need more vitamin C in your life, or you need, you know,
There's some foundational ingredients that are good for all skin types.
Yeah.
That's the first place we start, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then breaking that down for people and what could we do better on for you and stuff like that. So it was really that that inspired me to to go retail, that relationship that I had with Nikki at that time. And that was my first retail store was Space NK. And you know, it was tough. It was really tough because no one knew who the hell I was. And
Yeah.
so it's, you know, you think, again, one of those times where Joanna thought just because I was on a shelf that someone was going to buy something. And that's not the case. Just because you got into the store, that's step one, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of work to build awareness. It's
Yeah,
so much work to just
yeah,
get people to know who you are, that you
yeah,
exist.
yeah. And so then it became a challenge for me. And I always like challenges and I always try to rise to the occasion. So it was really that.
Wow. Impressive. I love it. I love hearing your story. It was,
It was really awesome hanging out with you.
it is. I'm so excited. I feel energized.
Good, good. I want everybody listening to us to also feel like they can do it. I wanted
Yeah.
this talk to be inspiring to other estheticians who, a lot of whom follow me, to hear two stories of how two people did it so that they could also be inspired, um, to have your own journey.
Yeah.
Um, so thank you so much for being here and being a part of that. I really appreciate it. And I love your product. So if anybody would like to purchase any of the products that we talked about today, your website again is
freeandtrueskincare.com.
freeandtrueskincare.com. I'm going to be posting this live on IGTV, and it'll also be up in a few days on my YouTube channel. So in case you guys want to rewatch it, or if you caught the tail end, good stories about how we created and stayed passionate about what we do.
Thank you so much, Joanna, for having me. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for coming. Take care, girl.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.